Eddie Murphy was almost in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. Eddie Murphy was a huge Star Trek fan. Remember all those Star Trek references in his original stand-up act? Well, by pre-production of this movie, Eddie Murphy had become the new international phenomenon after 48 Hours and Trading Places, and then in 1984, he rose to superstar status with Beverly Hills Cop. Apparently, Eddie Murphy approached them and asked if he could be in the next Star Trek movie. And executive producer Jeff Katzenberg described it as either the best idea in the world or the worst. Nimoy and Bennett were intrigued and thought that his presence could widen Star Trek's audience. In the original screenplay by Steve Mearson and Patrick Crikes, Eddie Murphy was an eccentric English professor who was obsessed with whales and also believed in aliens. Eddie Murphy's character would help the Enterprise crew navigate the world of 1986 San Francisco and find their whales. His meeting up with the crew would not only have propelled the plot, but also provided much of the comic relief. When the Enterprise arrives in the 20th century and hear whale songs in the middle of San Francisco, this is because Eddie Murphy is playing whale songs to his college English class. Also, Eddie Murphy would have a male friend who was a marine biologist named Dr. Julian Taylor, and a female friend who was a reporter. And there was a humorous scene where Eddie Murphy would get a hold of a phaser and would show it to his buddy, Julian Taylor, or his reporter friend, as proof that aliens exist. Julian, or the female reporter friend, would dismissively throw it on the ground and go to bed, and the cat would paw at the gun and accidentally shoot the furniture. Taylor would wake up in the morning to see much of his living room disintegrated. Murphy would seek out the Enterprise crew in Golden Gate Park and hit the invisible bird of prey and fall in the grass. And after getting Eddie Murphy's help, Admiral Kirk would thank him and beam up alone, but Murphy would grab Kirk's leg and beam up to the ship, and he would travel back with him to the 23rd century. However, Paramount worried about having Eddie Murphy in their Star Trek movie. There were risks of combining their two most lucrative franchises, Star Trek and Eddie Murphy. At worst, it could dilute both brands. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, Eddie Murphy hated the part. He wanted to play a Starfleet officer, not some crazy person.
I was going to be the one that they met when they got to San Francisco, and I was like, no, I want to beam up, be on the ship, so I didn't do it. They had me talking jive to Spock.
He turned down the role and chose to make the Golden Child instead. Therefore, the Eddie Murphy role, the marine biologist part, and the female reporter were combined into one character. Years later, Eddie Murphy regretted turning down this role.